The town of Oakville put on a welcome back party for all the veterans, and that was in 1946, I believe we had that, or 47, I'm not sure. Dinner and everything, and the mayor was there, and things like that, and we were all given with our names inscribed in the brass part of it, bookends. Each one, if you were in the Navy, then you had their emblems, and same with the Army and the Air Force. So there was a lot went into it, and it was very successful. I think I still have, I have some still at home where I have one complete one, and the other one is just some of the brass because of the children over the years they broke them. Why? Because that was the easiest thing for me to get into. I wasn't a big person. You can see that. I think I was about 120 pounds soaking wet, not compared to what I am now. But that I wasn't a big person, and they were taking volunteers at that time, and I went up to Hamilton and joined up, unbeknownst to anyone, you know. And all of the people that I grew up with, went to school with, they were a few months older than myself, and they were all in. And this is another reason that I joined the Navy. My two brothers, they were in the Army, but I went in the Navy because I liked it. Like the RCN is Royal Canadian Navy. That's what it is for peacetime and everything, for anyone who wanted to be permanent Navy. We were called the Royal Canadian Navy Volunteer Reserves. That's what we were called, and that was our title, and that's what we joined under. Same as the Army. They went to different branches of the Army, the different corps and things like that. I had 6 weeks training in Hamilton, and then I went down to Nova Scotia, and we had further training there, and then we either caught the ship in Halifax or the West Coast, Vancouver, or we were shipped overseas, and that was what I was. I was shipped over and to Scotland, and there was a camp there. It's called HMCS Niobe. And that was the training center over there. We trained there until a ship came in, and the way it worked, some of the ratings on board ship, they were taken off, drafted off a ship, and so we would replace some of them. Some of them had been there, you know, quite a while. So others stayed on, and some I know stayed up to 30 months on board the same ship, you know, and so this is the way it went. I managed to be posted. The first time was a ship, and it was the HMCS Petrolia. These were corvettes, and it was all convoy duty, things like that. So I was on that for a short time. And then I was drafted off of that, and then I was drafted onto the Trentonian, the HMCS Trentonian. That was another corvette, I should say, and that was in November 1944, and then 3 to 4 months later is when we were torpedoed and sank. The corvettes were in different groups, and our group, we ran from, we would pick a convoy up that had come across from Canada, say. They'd come to Londonderry in Ireland and come down to Milford Haven in Wales, and then we would take it to the different ports. So we would go into Cherbourg, France. In fact, and this is after D-Day, the Allies got the Germans out of the Cherbourg and things like that. We'd get shore duty or shore uh, what's the word I'm looking for? So it's leave, shore leave. And we'd go out for a couple of hours, but we were told what to do and stick together, and because the Germans were still around there. And so you go across for a couple of hours and see what Cherbourg was like, and you couldn't see too much. So then you get the Liberty ship and take you back to the ship you were on, and away you'd go, you know. But a couple of times like that, we did that. And then we, as I said later on, we were taking the convoys into Belgium, Antwerp, and that was one of the biggest ports there. That was supplies for the army guys who were in Europe at the time, the ammunition and food and what have you. So this was all part and parcel. And then we'd go to Southend, which is below London. We would stay there overnight, drop our convoy off, and head back to Milford Haven to pick up another one. And every so many weeks, we would have to have our engines, boilers cleaned. So we'd be in there for maybe a week, you know. Some of us would take leave. I visited 3-4 times my grandpa and uncles and aunts in Manchester, England, where that was where my parents came from. And so it was good. I met some of the Oakville people in Liverpool who were over there. They were in, the two of them were in the merchant navy, and rather than join the navy, it was age. It was a big thing. But anyway, I ran into Oakville people. And I was a stoker,
what did
yes.
that involve? It sounds pretty manual.
Well, no, it's not. They're all oil-fired boilers. It's just making sure that they were being fed the oil, and you kept them up at a certain temperature, and you're ready if they said they're going to increase the speed. We had to increase the flow of oil and going into the boilers and things like this, so to keep the engines going. So really, it wasn't manually. It wasn't. It was very monotonous at times, though, very monotonous, you know. But it was all right. It was good. I've had upset stomachs, you know. But I managed, and I listened to the ones who are older for advice, and they said, keep eating. That way, if you do get sick, there's something there to come up. And I ate every opportunity I could, even if it was just anything, raw carrots, stuff like that. It was good. We were at action stations, and my action station was on depth charges. So I was right there when we were running. We were running, tell you there in the book there, in between the convoy ships to where our ASDIC, and this is the listening devices on board a ship, who picked up the echo of the submarine, where it was, and we were running after it, and that's when, and let's see, going after the submarine, and then we got it. But they had sank 2 of the merchant ship convoy before us. We were the last, and they did that. Within 9 minutes, that ship sank. This is what the records apparently say. You know, nobody's looking at their watch, but this is what they said. We went down in 9 minutes, and then we were fortunate. Fortunate part about it was in the daytime, and if it had been nighttime, I'm sure we would have lost more members, because you did scatter with the waves move you around. I was one of the ones in the water, like a lot more. We did get a couple of whalers. We got 2 whalers out off the ship, and there were some Carly floats, and the British Navy sent out from Cornwall in England. They sent out these armored yachts. They were a fair-mile, they called them, a smaller ship, but it's for coastal patrol. And they picked us up. But we were in the water an hour and a bit or something like this. And it was quite cold. A lot of there was some of the guys, when the torpedo exploded, some were injured, wounded. And this is where we lost the one officer and the 5 ratings. They were on duty at that time and we were hit from behind. We were told it was an acoustic torpedo, but I'm not sure on that. But I have to assume that's what it was, because they do go by you. But with an acoustic torpedo, it heads right for the noise of the propellers on the ship. So and that is at the stern. So that's about all I can say. As I say, we got picked up. We were taken to a hospital. One funny part about it is you lose everything when you're aboard a ship. And anyway, they give us to wear they're like prisoner garb. They were like a light blue, like pants and top, and sweater and that. And when we after a couple of days, we got out of the hospital, all of us, after we were checked out real well, and we were taken to the train station, and the people in Cornwall, and my God, they looked like prisoners of war, Germans. It was quite funny at the time. And anyway, we got taken up to Greenock, Scotland, and we were there for, I don't know, a week. And then we were sent back to Canada on board another troop ship. Oh, it wasn't supposed to. Nobody even knew. I mean, at this time, March 1945, but it just happened. May the 8th, the war in Europe was over. And time I got home, and I think I had 40 days, I think it was 40 days survivor leave. I got back to Halifax to be sent on another ship, and lo and behold, the war ended. So I hung around there again, and then they sent me over back to Hamilton, and I stayed there and did duty until December of 1945, and the 12th of December I was discharged. We had one. I can't really tell you because it's hush hush, but I can't tell you. But it's in there, and it was hushed up because the American Navy and the Canadian Navy, the British Navy, we were in on something in the Channel, and it wasn't our ship. We did get a shell. We were shot at by the enemy, but not the enemy, by our allies, you might say. And the captain of the ship, the Royal Navy ship, he did die. He died on board our ship from wounds administered by a mistake. So by the American Navy. So it's in that little book there, just a short passage, but it's also in the other books that are available. When that book was put together, they used some of this stuff with permission from government. The files that the government have of everything. It's not, but it was all hush-hushed at the time. My most important during the war was the torpedoing, because in the water I didn't expect to get home. The telegrapher on board the ship got the message to the other ships in our, sent the message back that we were in the water, you know, sunk. So they came out and rescued us. This is what, you know. So we weren't that far off of, well, it's only 20 miles, 25 miles between Europe and England anyway. And we were halfway out, I guess. Someone say, well, we couldn't see land or anything like that, but that's where we were. We weren't that far out. Well, just the one. The one guy was a stoker, and he was from Belleville. I guess I can't show you, but he was about my age, so I ran with him when we got shore leave and things like that. You always pick up buddy rather than go with a guy who's 10 years older. You go with someone your own age, and this is what we did. And this guy, he was coming out of the engine room, and when it hit, a bunch of the armament moved, from what I was told, and he got a little crushed. So unfortunately, he passed away. I met his mother. I went down. But, yeah.
That must have been hard.
Yeah. Okay, so that's it.
Thank you.